this episode of SIME Perspectives, I meet Kami Kay Kirschbaum. We talk about innovative ideas that translate into entrepreneurial opportunities, how to navigate multiple distribution platforms, being ready for uncertainty, and bulletproof clothing. We're talking about bulletproof clothing, entrepreneurship, the things that we need to do to be an entrepreneur right now, right here. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey and where you are right now and what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. Long story short, I moved to Stockholm 7 years ago, and at that time was just a hairdresser and studied for a quick 9 months, but then I continued to be a hairdresser. When I was at the salon, I realized that I like doing social media more than doing hair and marketing more than I like doing hair. So I had the opportunity to slide out and go study a bit. And from there, in my last year of school, I got this idea along with seeing this huge need in the US right now, and which is my home country, of needing more safety and needing to create a more safe world. So I started the brand Civilian. We do bulletproof clothing. We also do slash-proof scarves. So we are designing for wearable safety, essentially, like a second layer of skin that a lot of people wish that they had in these emergencies. I grew up doing active shooter drills in school, so I really see this as a big need to just protect as many people as possible right now.
You know, as you started this business, obviously, you know, one of the things that we talk about here at SIME and the perspectives that we're talking about is incorporating innovation, tech, AI, all this kind of stuff. How are you working with the tools? Because this clothing is kind of, let's say, a traditional business in many ways.
Yeah.
How are you working with what's happening from an innovation point of view?
Yeah, I mean, very, very simply, the physical product and the physical technology has existed for a very long time. Basically, our clothes and our body armor is 40% lighter than Kevlar, which is what every police officer basically wears. And not only are we lighter, but it's also water resistant. So Kevlar, it can't perform in water.
Oh, right.
So if you sweat or if it rains, you're screwed.
Oh.
So we use another type of technology, polyethylene. And I was just shocked when I started looking for solutions, because nobody has been designing along with how fast the technology has come through. And I think that relates into tech as well, into this world, is like, okay, we need to be designing alongside of what the technology is capable of. Where are you selling this? Is this like an e-commerce thing? Is it like in stores? How are you marketing and selling this kind of stuff? Right, so we have our own website, of course, but we're also on like many different platforms, Public Square, soon on Amazon, soon on guns.com, soon on everest.com. So we're building really these key partnerships right now, as well as being in physical stores in the US as well. So yeah, in schools. Yep. How have you used and what is the need for new technology in this area? I think there needs to be like an application of the technology that already exists, right, in my opinion. I think, like I said, I think the design needs to catch up with the technology. But yeah, I mean, yeah, more generally speaking, I guess it could be, I see such a slow adaptation to, I mean, if it's the firearms or the defense industry, nobody's using AI. Right. It's like crazy, and how helpful it can be to, you know, detecting threats, knowing your customers better. Like, it's just like a simple lack of not using it. You know, I mean, we both live in Sweden, right? Or you're living in Sweden now too, and you don't feel like it's an unsafe environment. So maybe a traditional, like Swedish person wouldn't maybe walk around in kind of body armor in general, or wouldn't feel that need. How do you identify your markets, and then how are you approaching them? Yeah, so a lot of it is like existing gun owners. So I'm like,
oh my God. So like your kids don't kill you by accident or something?
Yeah, but like, if you own a gun, shouldn't you own if you own, I mean, they see it as defense, but that's offense.
Right.
Shouldn't you have the defense? So a lot of it, and a lot of them, not a lot of them do, some of them do, but a lot of that is like having that come into mind, like, okay, if you're prepared for those types of situations, like, how can you be prepared with something as simple as what you're wearing? And yeah.
Will it be like a military application too eventually, do you think?
100%, because it's great for Secret Service, undercover missions, stuff like this is a huge part of our demographic, and we're talking to them right now as well. So it definitely will be used by militaries and law enforcement. Yeah.
How do you work with like, let's say, there's a lot of, obviously when if you sell into people, there's one set of parameters, right? And then if you sell into a government, there's another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how is for you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, sales processes basically are the main difference. Like procurement process versus direct to consumer is like crazy different. You don't need like you can be a huge multi-million-dollar company with zero marketing if you're doing procurement processes.
Yeah.
And if you're doing, if you win those big deals all the time, direct to consumer is all about the story, right? It's all about like, how is the branding? What is the story being told? Every little nuance, along with needing usually at least 8 touch points with the brand before they can even think about purchasing. So it's very different sales processes.
Yeah. How important is storytelling in this whole process, and how do you use it?
Yeah, it's like, again, if we're selling direct to consumer, the story is everything. People don't want to feel, I don't want people to feel like I'm threatening them into buying this product, of course. I'm just offering, we're the solution, not the problem.
Yeah.
So that's a huge part of the story.
Yeah.
Without like scaring people into this as well. Just more about awareness.
Yeah. If you're approaching, let's say, new people, new investment, new companies to partner with, what's your like pitch? What do you say? What are you going in with?
I mean, simply put, I think every school in America should have one of these. I think every gun owner in America should have one of these. Yeah. And those are huge demographics. Those are huge numbers. The U.S. owns 42% of all the world's guns. That's huge. That's including military. So, if those people, shouldn't they own a vest as well? It's a very simple application, another application to safety. And then schools is like very, like, if we know that schools are already being targeted, why shouldn't we protect them? So, I mean, those are some, but yeah, essentially for anybody who's watching, it's safety that you can wear. It's like this t-shirt, but it could be bulletproof. So it looks like everyday clothing, and it's designed for civilians. It's designed to be as low-key as possible. We have no branding on the clothes whatsoever to keep people more safe. I love design. I would love to have something fun or even a little gold thing here, but we can't have it because we need people to be, it needs to be a black t-shirt, a black hoodie, Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. If we think about your business case, right? So you were, hairdresser, student, all of a sudden you're like, I want this, I got an idea, or maybe you made connection with someone and you found out this business idea and you started to go down that. As a, like, let's say, maybe advice or, to someone else, is just at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey, what would you say are the key elements to like make something happen?
I would say you need, and you know this too, that you need a lot of grit and you need a lot of resilience. But don't forget to, like, if you're gonna start, go ahead and start now. Don't start tomorrow. Ask yourself, like, why not me? Why should I not do this? And for me, it was a very clear answer. I was like, there could literally be people's lives on the line, but no matter what you want to do, you need to have a lot of grit and resilience. And like, it's so generic, but it's really about who you know. So you need to like put yourself out there every day. And I don't know how it is for you, but for me, like, starting companies, it's super fun and it's all good, but to watch your vision come to life, but it's like getting punched in the stomach for like years on end and then smiling, like showing up with a smile.
Yeah.
So be prepared to do that, or maybe you shouldn't do it. I'm just going to keep it real.
But you do get a resilience, like it's like if you're, if you're into martial arts or whatever,
yes.
You build up a facility for getting, like let's say injured, in a safe environment in that sense. And then when the bigger blows come, you're able to deal with them. That's the resilience that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
If the first time out, you're just going to go into a fight, you're going to get crushed.
Yeah.
And in the same way, if you're going into business, often, there are a lot of things that you're not ready for if you don't really step in and see what happens. And that comes to the idea of failure, because a lot of people are afraid of failing or afraid of being seen to be failing. And it's okay to fail in small steps, right? I mean, that's part of it. You fail forward, I guess you could say. Instead of falling forward, you fail forward.
Yes.
So like, this didn't work. Let's figure this out, right? Maybe you have an internal vision. Tell me a little bit about that, like this idea of how you embrace and deal with failure.
Yeah, for sure. Because every week goes like this, right? And like, that can feel directly correlated to the success of the company. But it's like, look at the stock market or anything. You're allowed dips, you're allowed that, but as long as you're generally going up and going forward.
I want to look at the stock market right now. I just went,
dips are
my
allowed.
stock was just like this. It was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been terrible the last like couple of weeks.
It has. No, it's been a joke. And that is reflective of life, and that is reflective of.
It's true.
Of literally any cycle. It's necessary for downs to go up. And like, when you live that, it's really fun, because when I get good news, and I work really late because of the time difference in the US. But when I'm working and I'm in bed and I get a great email or I get a meeting with someone and I'm screaming, like, and my stepson comes in the room, he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm so on top right now." Like, so those moments exist too.
Yeah.
I just, like, in general, it's really, like, you need to be prepared to go through some of that stuff. It's not a 9 to 5. You're not going to clock out at 5, but you are going to have, if you allow yourself, like, the time of your life, like 100, it will be so fun as well. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Before we end, just one big question, one big thing that you think we need to talk about in looking into the next decade. What do you think the big questions are going into the next decade?
I think, like, okay, generally there are some questions around that I worry about on a daily basis around AI that are like copyright and stuff like this. Like, I worry, maybe it's just me, but I worry a ton about copyright all of the time.
Okay.
And ownership of these stuff. But I think to change directions completely, the biggest question that I think is more relevant for you and your audience is like, why not? Again. So it's like, really, I don't know, ask yourself why and why not all of the time. When you're getting to know your customers, like, why do they like this? Why? And then when it comes to like your own dreams, because I know there's a ton of people out there that have dreams and visions, and there's innovations just like waiting to be born. Yeah. And that's what this like place exists to do. And just ask, like, why not you? Needs to be like everything, I think.
Why not you?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
That's what I have. And give yourself time to think about it, Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that was great.
Yeah.
Thank you all. See you next time.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
SIME Perspectives is written and produced by Roland Williams and Gary Fabbri. Share your perspectives with Gary Fabbri on LinkedIn or Instagram. Support comes from Innovation Pioneers, the collective learning network for innovation capabilities, Epicenter, the power of community scaling ideas into impact, and the SIME Conference, exploring tech, business, and humanity together.